Today's question on the Golf Diaries: to fill or to correct when it comes to paintwork, particularly old paintwork like on the Rivage here. We're going to use Bilt Hamber Cleanser Polish, a bit of a classic, to try and supply some answers and go through some examples as to when you might want to fill versus correct, or vice versa. Come on, let's dive into it. Hello and welcome back to the Golf Diaries. My name is Mark, and if you're into all things VW and detailing, then hopefully you've come to the right place. Now, today in a rather hot Golf Diaries HQ, we are going to ask the question whether it is best to fill or correct, or perhaps a combination of the both, on your paintwork. Now, there's lots of examples and there's lots of considerations to take into account, but we'll try and dive into them as best we can. So when it comes to polishing, what do you currently do? Do you hand polish? Do you machine polish? Do you use a filler heavy polish like the cleanser polish here? Or do you go full compound? So, you know, everybody's starting point will be different. So what I'm going to try and do today is use the Rivage as an example when I start applying this. So stay tuned, we will apply this and we'll talk a little bit about the product as well in a second. But let me explain what I do. So for example, in my kind of fleet, sounds grand, not that grand, fleet of cars, I do a bit of everything really. So the Defender, for example, has got ridiculously soft paint. It's very thin paint, and being a Land Rover, it's very poorly painted. So forgive me, my notes falling on the floor. I'm a pro. I constantly remind you of this, so professional. Anyway, so on the Defender, I tend to use something like this, which does a nice job of filling the swirls. It's not particularly aggressive, very shiny, very glossy, works a treat, put a sealant over it, job done. The Anniversary, kind of, you can just see the back of over there, that is 100% perfect paint. There's not a swirl in it, so that was compounded a long time ago, and I've just kept on top of it ever since. When it comes to just kind of shining that up ahead of show season, I will probably go with something like a glaze or something like this, just to give it a little bit of gloss. Job done. No need to cut into that paintwork. The Rivage is a whole different ball game. So as you may know from my previous videos, I'm in the process of trying to renovate this thing. So it will have a correction. However, it's an old car, and I'll overlay the shots here. In various places it's got damaged paint now and clear coat failure, so it will go and have a kind of repaint job done at some stage, but for time being that's not an option financially, so we've got to kind of work around that. So it will be corrected to a point. If I can get to 65–70% correction on this, I'll be really happy. At the end of the day, it's an old car. A few little marks, not the end of the world, but then I will then go around and top it up with this, because this will then fill in some of those reduced swirls over what you see on it right now, and it will also leave a really glossy finishing polish standard finish. So as you can see, in my cars I use a variety of methods. So where does this fit in? I should say, actually, just before I go any further, that all of the above, was based on machine polish usage. Of course, there are some areas of the car that you can't really use a machine polisher, or you just might not want to, or you might not have a machine polisher, in which case you want a polish that is going to enable you to hand polish the car. It's a good workout, if nothing else, but something like a cleanser polish works really well as a hand polish. So as I said, I will dive into this product in particular because I think it's one you'll be interested in. It's one I've used for many years, and I will show you how it applies with hand, how it applies on a machine, and compare the finishes that it leaves on both of them. But even if you have got a machine polisher, sometimes just going around the door shuts and the boot shuts, you know, underneath the bonnet, whatever, wherever you want to polish, where getting a machine into is just a little bit fiddly, then, you know, having a good hand polish in your arsenal is definitely worthwhile. So again, that's where this comes in. Now in this video I want to try and illustrate to you, and I'll get to the demonstration of the product shortly, why a product like this, and okay, this is the one I use but there are others on the market, is a really handy product to have in your arsenal, regardless of whether you use a machine polisher, hand polish, combination of the two, daily driver, show car, whatever. Having something like this in the arsenal is pretty priceless in my opinion, and I will explain why. Now the way I'm going to do this is, in a second I'm going to put a couple of squares on here, and I'm going to apply this, one side by machine, the other side by hand, see if there's any real difference. It's something I've never done actually, so I'm going to be interested to find out myself. We'll learn together if there's any difference there. And then after that, we'll go into how best to perhaps use this as a tool in your arsenal. Because let's not forget here, any detailing product, whatever it is, doesn't matter, wax, sealant, whatever, it's a tool. And how you use that tool is up to you. There's many ways to use a tool, if that makes sense. I'm not sure it does. I'm hot, right? Let me off. But anyway, let's shut up waffling and get on with it. But before we do the fun bit, let me tell you a little bit about this. Now, for those of you who have been following the channel for a while, thank you very much, but you'll know that I am a bit of a Bilt Hamber fan, and there's many reasons for that. So I've tried quite a few polishes like this, and this is the one I keep coming back to. Now, this is the latest in a kind of 3 or 4 videos I think I'm doing on various Bilt Hamber products that I use. And then we'll move on to other brands, don't worry. But yeah, this is not the Bilt Hamber channel. There's already some of those out there. This is not one of them. But no, it's just a really good product, and I want to tell you about it. So what is it? Well, it's an all-in-one. So actually it does leave behind a little bit of protection as well, which is handy. Now, I personally would never leave it as a standalone. I would always top it with a wax or a sealant of choice, and I'll come on to that. My next video will actually be introducing you to Auto Balm, which is a bit of a classic, which very often I will put over the top of this for a number of reasons. Now, it has a number of, it's basically full of acrylic polymers, and that's what leaves the layer of protection. And it's oil-free, so it is safe for pretty much any LSP. I probably wouldn't put a ceramic over it because you've got fillers in there, so you know, for ceramic you want a pretty pristine surface, but certainly for a daily driver or something like that, if you're going to put a wax or a sealant over the top of it, then this will do a really good job for you. You can also use it over stone chips. Obviously the way you should deal with stone chips is obviously get a touch-up pen or whatever and fix them, but you have to excuse the background noise. We're on a local motorbike run today, so there's loads of motorbikes around. But anyway, you can put this over the top. It just gives a little bit of protection, and then you put Auto Balm over the top of that, and you've got a pretty sealed stone chip until you can get round to repairing it. So really handy to know. The other thing with this is, you know, it cleans as well as fills. So it does have a little bit of abrasive, it does have some abrasives in it, I should say. So it will do a little bit of correction. Obviously it depends on the pads you use and what kind of speed and what technique you use as to how much it will correct. But there is a little bit of correction there, but I tend to not bother with it. But yeah, it's very much a cleaner and a filler, and that's how I tend to use it. So you could use this as your finishing polish of choice because it leaves a very glossy finish. But yeah, as you hopefully are beginning to see, the fact that I'm struggling to describe to you all the things and all the ways you can use this just shows how flexible it is. And having something like that in your detailing arsenal is pretty darn priceless as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you don't like Bilt Hamber for whatever reason, or you want to try something different, you don't want to get on the Bilt Hamber bandwagon, then hey, we all like being different, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, there's plenty of products out there, and some of the ones I've tried that have been pretty good, and I have to say have worked really, really well in a similar way to the way I use this. It's something like Poor Boy's Black Hole for this colour, obviously for the anniversary, not as it really needs any fillers, but you know, I'd go with White Diamond for that. But yeah, Poor Boy's Black Hole, real classic. Never go wrong with that. If you can still get it, I don't even know if I haven't looked for it for ages. If you can still get Prima Amigo, I mean, there's a blast from the past, eh? If you can still get that in this country, then I need to have a look actually, because I really like that product. But yeah, that was a really nice glossy kind of glaze come filler. So I mean, and there are many others I'm sure that I'm completely unaware of. So there's lots out there, but yeah, I swear by this one. So with no further ado, enough talk. Let's get the tape out, mark up a couple of squares on the bonnet, and show you how to use Bilt Hamber Cleanser Polish. So with the tape now on the bonnet, I'll see if I can show you. You can just about make out in this light. Poor old girl, she's looking a little tired, quite swirly. You can just see some marking going up there. As we kind of go across, you can just see a little bit more, a little bit across there. So this is going to be the side where I machine apply the cleanser polish, and then over here I will hand apply. Now there is some bird etching in the clear coat there, which it won't touch. I mean, let's just manage expectations now. It won't touch that. That's a compound jobby. Yeah, but you can see there is, you know, again, you know, a bit of marring there. So it'll just be interesting to see how well it masks some of those defects. Yeah, so let's get cracking. Now for the machine polishing side, I will be using my ShineMate. I believe it's the EX603. EX603, look at that. It's amazing. I know what the tools are that I actually spent my own money on. The memory works. It's not gone yet. So anyway, and on this, I've got a Flex soft pad. So it's the first time I've used this pad actually. So it's a Voyager Discovery on that pad as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a lovely soft pad, and I do like the Flex pads, I have to say. But yeah, really good little machine. This, I have to say, I'm impressed with it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be using for the machine application, and then for the hand application, high tech. It's a little bit stained. It is clean. It's just a little bit stained from previous usage. But this is one that you actually get with the Bilt Hamber kit. So you know, again, nice and squishy, nice and soft. So yeah, that's what I'll be using to hand apply the cleanser polish. Now, one of the things that's perhaps worth pointing out with the cleanser polish, as I just said, this is the soft pad. Now, of course, you can put a slightly more aggressive pad on if you want a little bit of cut, because as you know, the cleanser polish does have a little bit of abrasive in there. But the way I tend to use it, and I'll explain all once we've done this as to why I use it this way, I just tend to use it very much as a glaze, really. It's very much as a cleaner, as a masker, a filler. So yeah, the softest pad you can get is, and this is the softest one I've got available to me right now, is absolutely fine. You're not working it into the paint, you're not trying to get any kind of correction, you are literally just massaging it into the paint so that the fillers can get to action in those defects. So yeah, nice soft pad, but yeah, if you do want to correct, you can put a slightly more aggressive pad on, but I wouldn't go full aggressive. I mean, it's not that kind of polish, but yeah, just something you can play with. Again, tools in the arsenal. So we'll start with the machine polish side. So yeah, we'll give it a good shake. Sorry, that means the camera's going to be shaking as well. But yeah, we like to do this live. This isn't Blue Peter. You don't pre-shake the bottles. Did anyone ever pre-shake a bottle in Blue Peter? I'm sure they probably did. Anyway, so you just need a few tiny blobs. Technical term. Tiny blobs. There you go. 4 tiny blobs, and then I'm going to have to put the camera down somewhere safe and get applying it. So let's now see if we can see any difference at all between the machine polished side and the hand polished side. I'll be amazed if we can on camera. I'm not going to spoil it by saying what I can see away from the camera, but let's see if we can pick it up on the camera. So where you've got the main marring, which is around here somewhere, I'm trying to get the camera to pick it up. It doesn't want to pick it up for some reason. Come on, camera, play ball. So let's try again. Let's just move up there slowly so that the camera doesn't... There we go. So you can see actually this marring here, some of which was quite deep, to be fair. I mean, that is really deep there. So I'm you know, it's reduced it slightly, but you know, I didn't expect that to disappear completely. But as you can see, as you move further up here, the marring has become very, very difficult to see. It's still there, obviously. I mean, we haven't corrected it. We've just put some fillers into it. So yeah, that's all very good. And as you can see, it's a lovely kind of glossy finish. I'm not sure that's really coming across on camera, but in person, it really is a lovely glossy finish. So just moving across, I'm having technical issues with the camera, so bear with me. Ah, dear. Life of a YouTuber, eh? So this side, again, the camera's doing something really weird. It's there we go. There you go. We can see again. Now, yeah, again, I mean that again, very, very deep. I didn't expect that to even on machine polish side to disappear, but it's filled a little, but it's not blown me away. And we'll go into all this in more detail as to why I think that is in a second. So bear with me. I knew it wasn't going to touch that, as I think I mentioned at the start, but. Again, it's got a nice glossy look to it. If you compare the two side by side, oh, you can't tell any difference on the camera. You really can't. Let me know in the comments below if you can. To the naked eye, this side is a little glossier, and also, you're gonna have to take my word for this, but it's just a little bit smoother. Now, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, if you're doing a whole panel, why would you hand polish it if you've got a machine polisher? But certainly the machine polisher does give a slightly nicer finish. I've got lots of thoughts on this, so let's, with no further ado, sit back down and discuss them. Just thought maybe it's an idea for me to take this tape off and see if we can see any difference between polished and unpolished down the centre. So let's give it a go. Obviously going to have a little bit of residue that didn't wipe off. No, I mean, that's not really going to be... I can't get that onto the camera. It's really annoying because what I can see, but I can't get the camera to pick up. Let's try this angle. No, it's just not going to pick it up. It's a real pain. But basically, where you've got the marring here that I've just shown you, when you come across here, I've now put finger marks all over it. Well done, Mark. It is more pronounced at this end of the defect than it is further across. There you go. Now that kind of shows it a little bit better. So if you follow it across, it's just not going to quite pick it up. That's really frustrating. But yeah, let me just take the rest of the tape off and then we'll have a look. Do this live. It would make sense to kind of do this and then turn the camera back on, really, wouldn't it? But again, I just want to show there's no camera tricks or anything strange going on. People very often doubt the validity of such things that are done on YouTube, saying there's camera tricks and all what have you, but no camera tricks here. I'm not intelligent enough for camera tricks. Right. Again, I just don't think it's going to show on the camera. It's really quite frustrating. But this centerpiece here, and also the edge here, I'm looking at it in a slightly better light than the camera's picking up. You can definitely see, no, you just can't see it on camera. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to take it, maybe there, that kind of shows it. If you just kind of catch it there, little glossy, little dull. It definitely does gloss the paint up. You can see it there. That's probably the best shot I'm gonna be able to get you. It definitely does gloss the paint up. There's no two ways about that. Now, whilst I was doing the application part of the video, I was planning to tell you a little bit about the speed on the machine polisher and so on. So I'll do that now for the simple reason the microphone here decided it didn't want to play anymore. It wanted a rest. So it went off to have a charge whilst I filmed that. And now I'm back with a working microphone. I'll explain all. So you apply it in the shade, which is pretty common sense with most detailing products, I guess. But yeah, certainly when you're polishing, apply in the shade. Now with the hand application, you don't have to, but it can be helpful just to kind of just slightly dampen the cloth. To be honest, I never do, but you can do if you find it an issue. You shouldn't find it an issue at all. And you are just kind of massaging it in a circular motion, as you would have seen. And then when you finish, you leave it a minute, which is what that meant. You leave it a minute, and that just allows it to kind of just haze off a little bit. And then you wipe it off, job done. With a machine polisher, you want to use it at speed 3 or 4, which is about 3,000 RPM for most machines. And you're not putting any pressure into it, unless, of course, you are using a slightly aggressive pad and you want to use those abrasives, but it's minor. I use it just as a cleaner, so soft pad, no pressure whatsoever. and as you saw, just back and forth, up and down a couple of times. Again, let haze wipe off. Now, all that said, cleanser polish. Why do I carry on using this? I've used this for years. I think I got my first cleanser polish about 12 years ago, and that's all I've really used since. There's a number of reasons, as you know, as I think you can see already from the quick demonstration I gave you. It does gloss up the paint quite nicely, and for me, as I explained earlier in the video, it has its place on soft paints like the Defender, where I can't keep correcting it. I just can't, because there's not enough paint on it to keep doing that. And also, you know, how often should you really correct a car anyway? You know, you are eating a little bit away at that clear coat every time you do it. This is just a nice top up with a machine once a year or whenever you want to do it. Very easy to apply. Gives great results, really glossy finish. You can use it as an all-in-one, as I said, but I personally don't tend to. But yeah, I use it because it's so easy to use, it gives great results, and it works for my usage scenarios. So with this, once this gets corrected to 60–70%, I will then top it up with this just to kind of really get what's left of those swirls and gloss it up as a finishing polish. It's also another layer of protection on there, which I will then go over the top of with something else, but that's how I'm going to use it with this. The Anniversary, I very rarely use this on the Anniversary, but if I do use it on the Anniversary, it will just be with a very soft pad just to gloss it up before a show or something. In fact, I don't actually think I've ever used that on the Anniversary, but that's how I would use it on the Anniversary. The Daily Driver, again, spruce it up every 6–7 months, a year, whatever, you know, whatever works for you. Spruce it up, put a coat of wax over the top of it, job done. If you want to get some correction out of it, you can. When I first got the Land Rover, I didn't want an aggressive polish. I didn't even want a finishing polish, to be honest. I just went at it with this and got really great results. But yeah, very much the clue is in the name. It's a cleanser polish, and that's what I like. It cleans up the paint, makes it look glossy, puts a little bit of protection on there, fills in some swirls. Great one-step product in that respect. Now, when would you use this? Why would you use this, to answer the initial question, over a full correction? Well, as I said, certainly you don't necessarily want to keep hitting cars with a full correction. It's not really that good a thing to do on a regular basis. Do it once, get it to a really good base layer of correction, and then just use this and good wash technique to try and obviously keep it looking good for the duration that you own the vehicle, is my advice to you. But would I recommend this to you, and how would I recommend you use this? Well, if you want a quick, and I'm just checking down at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. If you want a quick, easy to apply hand polish or machine polish, applied polish, that is just to spruce up your car, make it look good, make it look glossy, and you can get the whole car done in an hour, and that's no exaggeration. With a machine polisher, you can just whip round it really quickly. Then yes, great product, try it. If you want an effective and easy hand polish for the hard to reach areas or underneath the bonnet or whatever, again, great product, give it a go. If you want to spruce a car up for sale, why would you go to the effort of a full-on correction when you're selling the car? You want it to look good, you want it to look nice and shiny. So yeah, absolutely, brilliant product, use it. If you just like using the Bilt Hamber system, needless to say, give it a go. But if you want correction, as in proper correction, then no, don't use it. It's not for you. But yeah, I tend to, with this, I'm going to be using it as a correction topper, if you like, just to give it that final little bit of pop. You know, it's just a really good tool to have in your armoury. It's a really good tool that you can use in a variety of ways. So there are other products, as I said at the outset, that will do the same thing. But this is the one that I think kind of does everything at a really good price. Now, I will be doing another video after this one, probably tomorrow I'll film it. So, and it will be talking about Autobalm, which is the product that originally brought me to Bilt Hamber, and pairs with this beautifully. I mean, it really does work well with this, and I'll explain all in that video. And if you're watching this video after that one's live, I'll put a link to it in the description below, so please check that one out. But yeah, it's so to go back to that original question, do you fill, do you correct? Well, my simple answer is I do both. I don't think there is a case of one size fits all. You do you. You know what you need from your usage scenario. You know what you need for your particular car, and no one product, regardless of the brand, regardless of what YouTube people say, regardless, I mean, what do we know? Regardless of what anybody says, there will not be one product out there that will do it all for you. It just doesn't exist. And if you know of a product that would completely do every job you particularly want on a car at every stage of the detailing process, only one that does a perfect job, please let me know, because I'd love to know what that is, and I will get it on the channel and I'll test it, because I don't think it exists. I think this is just another example of that. It can work as a standalone spruce up. It can work as a topper. It's a good all-in-one if you want to use it as an all-in-one. So, as with everything in detailing, it's a tool. This is a product I've used for many years. That's why I wanted to bring it to you. I am waffling. I'm going to shut up. So until next time, make sure you check out that Autobahn video coming. And also before I go, crikey, nearly forgot, how could I forget? I am about to start doing a live stream once a month. So we'll give it a go. I'm sure in the first few live streams there'll be no one watching. But if you'd like to take part in that, then please watch this space. I'm going to do a live stream. It's going to be a question and answers, all things detailing, VW, hairstyles, fashion. I'm a guru. So yeah, check that out. I'll make sure I put something on the YouTube channel to let you know when I'm going to start doing that. The only things we won't be talking about are politics and religion. Don't be doing that. Anything else, happy to have a chat, and let's make this a community as we move forward. Let's get some community vibes out there. In a divided world, let's bring it together all around detailing and these lovely V-dubs. So yeah, that's it. So until next time, bye for now. Stay safe.